Coming up next on NSEN, your Middle Tennessee Blue Raider football team dominated UTEP in quarterback Brent Stockstill's victorious return to the gridiron. They'll move on to play Charlotte on Saturday. Our chief football analyst, Xavier Dupree, will break it down.
The football team wasn't the only squad on campus that got a dominant win over the weekend. Both men's and women's basketball teams got a W. Let's find out how, coming up next.
The high school football regular season has come to an end, and the first round of the TSSAA playoffs has concluded. Find out if your alma mater advanced.
All those stories and much more. NSEN starts right now. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Elijah Campbell. Welcome to NSEN.
One up, one down. This past Thursday, your MTSU Blue Raiders played against Arkansas Fort Smith at the Murphy Center. The Blue Raiders were pretty dominant in this one as they began their offensive attack early on in the game and never looked back. The equipment managers had to throw away the nets after the game due to the hot shooting from senior point guard Giddy Potts. All of Giddy's made field goals came from behind the arc as he went 7 for 9 from the three-point range. Add in 4 free throw makes, Potts ended up with a team-high 25 points in only 19 minutes of play. Giddy wasn't the only one making their presence felt on the offensive end. In his debut for MT, Alabama transfer Nick King finished the game in double figures as well with 16 points to go along with 6 rebounds. The surprise story tonight, though, was the impact made by the bench as they chipped in for 35 points. Forward James Hawthorne led all bench points with 10. The Blue Raiders won this game in blowout fashion. Final score, 55-85. MT's next action will come this Friday against the Trevecca Trojans for the start of the regular season play, live from the Murphy Center at an early 11 a.m. tip-off. So students, if you don't have any classes on Friday or you want to play some old-fashioned hooky, make sure you're there loud and proud for your Blue Raiders.
Yeah, Vic, speaking of that Blue Raider basketball team, MTSU starting center Brandon Walters has been suspended for the season opener against Trevecca this Friday, November 10th. The 6'10 center out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, was also suspended for the team's sole exhibition game versus Arkansas Fort Smith. According to a statement by head coach Kermit Davis, Walters was, quote, failing to live up to the standards of the Middle Tennessee basketball program. Walters played a key role as the backup center last year, averaging 4.9 points and 3.3 rebounds per game in limited minutes. Walters is expected to be back to make sure season debut against Murray State on Monday, November 13th. Until then, expect to see 6'9" junior Carl Gamble to step in and start at center for the Blue Raiders on Friday. Well, there's more MT action. Middle Tennessee volleyball team lost to 25th ranked arch rival Western Kentucky in straight sets on Sunday. The Blue Raiders hung in there during their first set, but fell by a score of 25-20. However, it was all downhill from there as the Hilltoppers dominated the next 2 sets by a score of 25-13 and 25-16. The Blue Raiders were led by sophomore Dora Pionia as she recorded a team high in kills with 11 and a game high in blocks with 4. Sophomore Taylor Hamill had a nice game coming back from injury as she recorded a game high 33 assists. The performance of Brianna Tankersley was another silver lining as she led the game with 10 digs. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers improve on their incredible season as their record moves to 27-2 on the season and 13-0 in conference play. With the loss, the Blue Raiders fall to 7-21 on the season and 2-10 in Conference USA action. The Blue Raiders will host their final home game on Thursday as they square off against the Golden Panthers of FIU. And Vic, still ahead on NSEN, our college football analyst Xavier Dupree breaks down the X's and O's of MTSU's victory over UTEP on Saturday, as well as previews their next matchup against Charlotte.
Make sure to also stick around to catch up on an exciting Friday night that saw the first round of the high school football playoffs. So please don't change that channel.
Chef Patty here. Why should you include avocados as part of your family's balanced diet? It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Number 1. Avocados fill you up. Avocados contain unsaturated fats, good fats your body needs to help with the absorption of key nutrients.
Me hungry right now.
Number 2.
Avocados are good for you.
Avocados are naturally cholesterol and sodium free, plus they contain nearly 20 vitamins and nutrients.
Me need vitamins and nutrients, and number 3, avocado delicious.
Try avocados in place of ingredients higher in saturated fat. Avocados taste great in sandwiches, salads, and even in baked goods like cookies.
Avocado cookies? This match made in heaven.
This is your new kitten, or your new puppy. Every day, 70,000 puppies and kittens just like them are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of pet owners say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Well, it turns out those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number. 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddle or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more, fix at month 4.
Welcome back to NSEN, everybody. Elijah, MTSU really looked great over the weekend against UTEP. We finally got a win, after going over that drought that seemed to last forever.
That's right. The MTSU Blue Raiders are now 4-5, and we're a couple wins from bowl eligibility, which is something a couple weeks ago didn't look like a great possibility. For more on this MTSU Blue Raider team, let's kick it over to our college football analyst, Xavier Dupree. Xavier?
Thanks, guys. This past weekend, the Blue Raiders played host to the UTEP Miners. MTSU won 30-3 as Brent Stockstill played his first game since Week 2 versus Syracuse. Stockstill had a productive game on Saturday while only completing 43% of his passes. Stockstill threw for 3 touchdowns in his return. MTSU also ran for 210 yards and averaged 5.8 yards a carry. And the Blue Raider defense continued to show out, holding the Miner offense to 137 total yards and 48 yards passing. This week, there were plenty of big plays, and let's take a look at one of them right now. So right here, as you see, it's 1st and 10. Wide receiver Shane Tucker is going in motion, and the O-line is going to block for a power play. MTSU had been running this play all game. We have man-to-man coverage across the board with one high safety. Brent Stockstill is going to play fake. Brent sucking in the linebackers and freezing the safety, which allows Ty Lee to beat his one-on-one coverage. That safety can't hold him with a little stutter step, and Stockstill hits him over the top for a touchdown. As you can see right here, boom, one move, touchdown Blue Raiders. Plays like this help MTSU's offense get back on track. And now we're going to look forward into this week's game. The Blue Raiders are going to travel to Charlotte to take on the 49ers. Charlotte is 1-8 this season and 1-4 in conference play. The only win coming against UAB in a thrilling overtime game, 25-24. Last week, the 49ers lost 6-0 to Old Dominion. Now we learned a little bit about Charlotte. Let's go into some keys for the games. My first key to the game, just like last week, keep the O-line happy. And the way you keep them happy is you run that football, baby. Even though Charlotte is ranked 7th in Conference USA in rushing defense, running the ball will continue to help the offense trend in the right direction. On to my next key, continue to spread the wealth. On offense last week, 10 different receivers and running backs touched the ball for the Blue Raiders. Keep sharing the ball. And don't allow, as you keep sharing the ball, you won't allow Charlotte's defense to zone in just on one player. And my last key, stop Hassan Klue and the 49ers rushing attack. Hassan Klue has been a big problem for defenses this year. The quarterback has been causing problems all year, extending the plays with his legs. We have to be disciplined and get him on the ground in open space. The Charlotte rushing attack is ranked 4th in the Conference USA. And as we move on from the keys to the game, we're going to go ahead and go into some key injuries. First for Charlotte, linebacker Carrington King was out for the season with a knee injury. Now, the senior linebacker the senior linebacker dislocated his right knee in a 45-14 loss against Western Kentucky. Carrington is ending his career as the career leader in tackles. Hope you get better, Carrington. Now as we move on to MTSU, MTSU's best receiver, best player on offense, Richie James, broke his collarbone 2 weeks ago against Marshall. He is out for the rest of the year. You hate to see that for James. He's a great player, and we hope to see a full recovery. Also, offensive tackle Connor Trent is questionable with an undisclosed injury, so we don't know what's going to happen with him. And as we move forward, just a prediction. If MTSU can play like they did last week, I think even though they should be able to win. Charlotte, even though the record is not as great as they would hope, 1-8, they will play inspired football. It's going to be a dogfight, but I pick MTSU to win 27-14. And now let's move on to some questions. Let's go on to Twitter. We have a question from Rusty Ellis. How much of an improvement do you expect to see out of Brent Stockstill going forward? I expect to see a lot of improvement. As long as our offensive line can keep him clean, he didn't take a lot of hits on Saturday, thankfully. You don't want, your starting quarterback, he's been out for, 6 weeks. So you want him to, with his first game back, you don't want to see him take a lot of hits. So if they can keep him upright, he'll get back in game shape and in rhythm, and he'll be just fine. I have no problem. I think he'll be just fine. And we're going to move on to another tweet from Easy Money Sanders. Can MTSU win out? Yes, MTSU can win out. 3 games left. You go on the road this weekend to Charlotte. Next week, you go up to your bitter rival, Western Kentucky. And then the following week, you play on Thanksgiving weekend against Old Dominion. All 3 of these games are winnable, even though Western Kentucky's record is, I think they're like 6-3. They're not as good as their record, in my opinion. They've played some questionable competition, especially early in the season. So they can win out. You just got to take it one game at a time and keep playing how they played last week. We have another tweet from Darius Horton. Can guys like Jimmy Marshall and Patrick Smith relieve some of the pressure off of Ty Lee? Yes, they can. And that kind of goes into one of my keys for the game this Saturday, Darius. You got to keep spreading the wealth. Charlotte, their game plan is going to be to stop guys like Ty Lee, guys like Brad Anderson. They're going to play a lot of zone, but a lot of the zones are going to be rolled over to where Ty Lee is lined up. So guys like Jimmy Marshall, guys like Pat Smith are going to have a lot of one-on-one opportunities. So they have to take advantage of those opportunities and get Charlotte to break those tendencies. That's all the tweets we have for today. Let's take it back to the desk with Elijah.
Thanks, Xavier. Coming up next on NSEN, the Friday Night Lights shine upon Tennessee's best of round 1 of the TSSAA playoffs, kicked off this weekend. Our high school reporter, Camden Gathright, will fill you in on all the action for Friday.
And that's not all, Elijah. The Grizzlies and the Predators head west to take on some of LA's best. And the Tennessee Titans had a Sunday afternoon showdown with an old AFC rival, the Baltimore Ravens. You're not going to want to miss any of this.
I never imagined this would be your first home.
I feel powerless. I can't stop asking, why us?
I just want to hug and kiss you and never let go.
This is the hardest thing we've ever faced. I know it's even harder on you.
You are my little fighter. We're here with you.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words. But to a child in need, they mean the world. When you support a child through Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org/believe today.
We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. There's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
To pose, now sure. She makes the sun see, makes me deep in the North Sea.
Welcome back to NSEN, and I'm Camden Gathright. The Oakland Patriots went on the attack and made Lebanon Blue Devils look black and blue last Friday. The Oakland High School defeated Lebanon High School 42-6. Jeremy Rooks led the team in rushing yards and receiving yards. Rooks had 13 carries for 117 yards for a touchdown and 2 catches for 46 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oakland will play the Blackman Blaze this Friday at Oakland. The first time these two teams met early in the regular season, Oakland came out on top 42-21. Who will win? Let us know on Twitter at NSEN__MTDN. The Oakland Patriots has been a premier powerhouse in the Murfreesboro area for the past few years, but they have yet to achieve the ultimate goal in capturing the gold ball. Will this be their year?
The Oakland Patriots come in as the #1 team in the state of Tennessee and is 11-0 on the season after taking care of Lebanon 42-6 last Friday. Now they prepare to take on crosstown rival Blackman in the second round of the playoffs at home, where losing there is very rare.
Well, we have this saying that we don't lose at home. So us being at home, we try not to lose. We haven't lost in a while at home. And then when we play at home, our fans and our stands get packed. And then everybody's up behind us. And then that's like another player on the team, the crowd.
Winning has become the norm at Oakland, but they haven't won the state championship since 2008.
The Patriots have been consistent at winning and making deep runs into the Tennessee State playoffs for over the past 5 years, but has failed to win that coveted gold ball championship. This year, the Patriots seniors know that it's championship or bust.
It's my senior year, and I like to go out with a ring. Last year, we made it to the last round, and we ended up, became short. So this year, I would like to go out with a ring this year.
Just practicing the way we've been practicing, playing the way we've been playing. I mean, we need to start jumping on teams a little bit earlier, and then other than that, it's just going out there and doing what we need to do.
Oakland is just handling things one game at a time, the Patriot way. Reporting from Murfreesboro, Martin Sanders, NSEN.
Well, that should be a good one. The Patriots and the Blaze face off Friday night at 7 p.m. with the winner advancing to the quarterfinals of the 6A playoffs. The football playoffs are underway in the state, and 5 of 7 Murfreesboro area teams survived the first round of the TSSAA state football playoffs. Teams will battle Friday for a spot in the state quarterfinals and semifinals. Blackman will battle at Oakland, and Riverdale will travel to Cookeville in the 6A playoff contest. Eagleville will be at Columbia Academy in 2A, and MTCS will play Friendship Christian in the D2A quarterfinals. All games will be rematches of the regular season contests. The TSSAA semifinalists for Mr. Tennessee Titans Mr. Football Award have been announced. In the Murfreesboro area, 3 players were nominated. Eagleville's high quarterback Ethan Cobb and Riverdale's running back Savion Davis, along with Middle Tennessee Christian's running back Kamari McGowan, was nominated. And there were 2 kickers in that area nominated for Kicker of the Year, Blackman's Thomas Burks and Oakland's Aaron Sears. Thanks, guys. Well, that'll be it for the NSEN High School Sports. And reporter Kendrick Williams will break down the Titans matchup against Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens, as well as the Grizzlies' much-anticipated game at the Staples Center. And that's not all. Your Nashville Predators win on a 3-game West Coast road trip that concluded against the red-hot Los Angeles Kings. Stick around to see the results.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
It started with the original care package, and millions more like it. Passed from hand to hand, across land and sea, to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need. Ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Welcome back to NSEN. Well, Vic, a lot of big pro sports in Tennessee this weekend. The Titans rekindled an old rivalry flame against the Baltimore Ravens, and both Predators and Grizzlies headed out west.
I bet they are enjoying that fun in the sun as the Grizzlies, they take on the highly anticipated Lakers for this season. Let's see if our defense can crack down on Lonzo Ball. Kendrick, I think he knows a little bit about it. Kendrick Williams joins us now for your look at pro sports.
The 6-4 Memphis Grizzlies come up short against the 5-5 Los Angeles Lakers 107-102 Sunday night at the Staples Center. The game highlighted 10 lead changes that occurred in the first half. The Lakers then took control offensively in the third quarter, outscoring the Grizzlies 26-16. With 8:07 left in the quarter, the Lakers went on a 12-0 run over the next 2:43 to stretch the lead to 82-60. Although the Grizzlies would trim a 22-point lead with 42 seconds left in the fourth quarter, the Lakers would hold on to seal the deal. Tyreke Evans led the way for the Grizzlies as he dropped 26 points on 10 of 16 shooting from the field. Mike Conley added 23 points, and Marc Gasol recorded his fifth triple-double of the season with 13 points and 12 rebounds. Brook Lopez led the way for the Lakers with 21 points and 5 assists. Brandon Ingram added 18 of his 20 points in the first half, while rookie Kyle Kuzma recorded a double-double with 13 points and 12 rebounds. The Grizzlies will take on the Portland Trail Blazers at the Moda Center Tuesday night at 9 p.m. The Titans back on track. The 4-5 second-place Baltimore Ravens fell short to the first-place 5-3 Tennessee Titans 23-20 Sunday night at the Nissan Center. The Titans took a 3-0 lead at the end of the first possession on a 48-yard kick by Ryan Succop. The Ravens tied the game at 3-3 on a 30-yard field goal by kicker Justin Tucker. On the next play, Mariota connected with Matthews on a 16-yard touchdown to make it 10-3. Another Tucker field goal from the 49-yard line would make it 10-16. The Titans would extend the lead to 16-6 on a 1-yard touchdown by Derrick Henry with 2:24 left in the second quarter at the half. After a scoreless third quarter, the Ravens would cut the lead to 16-13 midway through the fourth on a 3-yard touchdown from Flacco to running back Javarius Allen. A late touchdown pass from Mariota to Decker would be too much momentum for the Ravens to overcome, as their late score would be enough to seal the victory. The Titans will face the Bengals Sunday at home. The Nashville Predators made their way to the Wild Wild West this past week for a 3-game West Coast road trip to take on the San Jose Sharks, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Los Angeles Kings.
All right, yeah, you're right, Kendrick. This is a big West Coast road trip for the Predators as well. They dropped one, and then won the next game Here in Los Angeles, PK Subban gets a hot start as he scores from the blue line to give the Preds a 2-0 lead. The next period, Philip Forsberg gives Craig Smith a dime, a beauty, as he puts the biscuit in the basket glove side on the LA Kings goalie. One LA Kings goal later, we see one more bizarre goals we will ever see in the NHL, as Alex Iafallo gets his first goal, seemingly fooling UC Saros in net. That makes it a 3-2 game, and in the same period on a power play, Alec Martinez, the slap shot, ties the game up with his second goal of the year. That means we're going to overtime, Vic. Sudden death. And Victor Arvidsson catches the pass on the breakaway. Hesitation. Glove side again. Game, set, match. Predators win their second in a row in the state of California. Big win for the Predators. Usually that's a West Coast road trip where they lose 3 of 3. They historically haven't been good out west.
Something about those victors, man. I know they know how to take over a game when they need to.
Yeah, sounds familiar, huh?
Think so. But we're not done just yet. Get those Twitter fingers ready, and maybe, just maybe, your Twitter questions will get answered on air.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Vic. I might even ask a question myself. But to do that, you have to tweet us at NSEN__MTDN to get your question answered. Stick around. NSEN will be right back.
Deserves to have a decent place to live.
Everyone. Todos.
When a future homeowner partners with Habitat for Humanity to build or improve a home, they build a better future for themselves and their families.
For my family.
Para po sa pamilya ko.
Por mi familia.
With a little help, we all have the potential to stand on our own. Through shelter, we empower. Visit habitat.org to provide help to families like these today.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing, they take care of our food, in addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
Before we go, I thought we should take one last look at our Twitter feed questions. Questions have been streaming in during the entire show.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Let's get our feed pulled up. And don't forget, if you want your question to be featured on the show, just tweet at us at NSEN__MTDN. So what question we got here first, Vic?
All right, let's look and see. All right, Rusty Ellis says, this one looks like it might be for you, Elijah. What should Preds fans expect from Kyle Turris after the big trade?
Now, the trade did involve one of the Predators' younger stars. We did give up Sam Girard, who is a defenseman. The Predators are a defensive-loaded team. We have many defensemen. This trade is you should expect, Preds fans, to win now. We need that depth at center. Kyle Turris is a center who can score, he can facilitate, and he adds depth. The thing is, the Predators don't have many scoring threats outside that first line. Their first line accounts for a majority of their points. So when that line's off the ice, Vic, there's not much scoring going on. So the move by David Poile to trade Girard, sacrifice him for a guy like Kyle Turris to give us this depth is something we're going to need if they want to make another deep playoff run like we did last year. It's a thumbs up for me. I love the trade. I feel like that was one of the bigger moves that any NHL team has done all year. I think they won that trade, if we're honest.
And I know the city of Nashville would love another deep run like they did last year. So
I would, that's for sure.
Definitely me too. But we're not done. Let's look at another question, this time from Xavier. Let's see, with the Eagles getting another convincing win this weekend, are they the team to beat in the NFL? I think I'll start this one off, Elijah. They are definitely the team to beat in the NFL right now. With the Cowboys, with their division looking so sketchy with the Cowboys, not sure if they're going to get Ezekiel Elliott or not. This is definitely amazing for them to get, even further out into that first position. What do you think, Elijah?
If you look at it, they have the best record in football. Carson Wentz is an MVP candidate, something that I don't think any one of us would have predicted at the beginning of the year. Carson Wentz has really grown up to his potential as the number 2 overall pick. He's got weapons now. The Alshon Jeffrey signing over the offseason looks a lot more important now, doesn't it? It looks like that made a huge difference. The defense has always been there. Fletcher Cox is one of the more dominant defensive linemen in the NFL. The Derek Barnett draft pick only solidified the great front seven of that Eagles team. The pieces are coming in together. And with the Jay Ajayi trade as well, that could be what pushes them over the edge to be a good team to an elite team. So I think the Eagles are the team to beat in the NFL, not just the NFC, but the entire NFL right now, because they're probably the most complete.
I forgot to log into Twitter, so I'm going to just ask you, do you think they have what it takes to make it to the Super Bowl this year?
If you look at just the raw roster, just how they're built, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, they have a team that GMs want to model to take to the Super Bowl. Now, the only thing is, are you going to get this play from Carson Wentz all season long? He did struggle with some consistency issues last year, and of course, he's a young guy, and this is going to be his first experience on a team that has a chance to make it to a Super Bowl or even make a playoff run, because they weren't that close last year. So it's going to be one thing to see Carson Wentz develop into the prime time, clutch time player that gets you deep into the playoffs, that wins you Super Bowls. But as the way the team's constructed right now, I do like the Eagles to be a favorite to possibly take the NFC.
Very interesting. I have to agree with you on that one. But let's move on to our next tweet. Elijah, I'll let you take this one, actually.
Let me take this one. All right, let's see. From Sideline Sports. If you haven't yet, go follow at NSEN__MTDN for great content. Hard work deserves to be rewarded. Thank you, Sidelines. Great. Speaking of people who produce great content, Sidelines does produce a lot of great content around here at Middle Tennessee State, especially for men's basketball, women's basketball, even sports like volleyball and soccer. They cover it all. We have another tweet here, Vic.
Yes, we do. This one is from David James. David says, if the Titans don't make it to the playoffs, do you fire the head coach? That's a rough one, David James.
Yeah.
You're kind of hard on.
Putting us on the hot seat. Yeah.
Me personally, even though I'm a Titans fan, I'm gonna have to say you don't fire the head coach. It's been over the last year. You've been dealing with the health of Marcus Mariota. I would say you would have to wait till you get a full year with Marcus Mariota and with him evolving more as a player, maybe next season, to fully see how the Titans are coaching staff and all blended together, how good they would look when everybody is in a cohesive unit. What do you think, Elijah?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to this question as well, because the Titans haven't been completely healthy all year, and you can't 100% put that on the coaching staff. Now, granted, the offensive play calling has been questionable at times, but at the same time, DeMarco Murray's not really been healthy all year. You lost a game from Mariota, and Matt Castle had to start a game, and you saw how that resulted in an ugly loss to the Dolphins. But at the same time, too, with Deshaun Watson going down for the season, the AFC South is the Titans to lose. So maybe, I'm not saying they should, but if you don't win this division the way it is right now, the way it is tailor-made for you to take and win, especially considering the way they beat the Jaguars in week 2, which is big now considering that they're an up-and-coming team in this division, it might be time, if you end up going 9-7 or 8-8 and missing the playoffs, that reconsidering Mike Mularkey's future might be a solid possibility. Not saying they should do it, but it should at least be considered.
Well, I hope you don't make that decision for him.
I don't want to make that decision. That's too tough for me. That's why they don't pay me those big bucks.
Looks like we got another tweet. Let's time from Xavier Dupree. Let's see. Do you think the Cavs regret trading Kyrie Irving? Elijah, now this is a very interesting question.
It is. And from a basketball standpoint, obviously you're going to question having to trade one of the best point guards in the league, guys, one of the best ball handlers we've had in the NBA in a long, long time. And he's just a natural born gifted scorer, and he plays really well with LeBron. When LeBron, the defensive attention goes to him in the last minute of games, it's nice for him to have somebody like Kyrie to kick it to defer it to, because Kyrie can do it himself as well. But at the same time, you made this trade knowing you're going to be without Isaiah Thomas. Now, the Cavs don't have Isaiah Thomas just yet. Once he gets healthy, that could be a real game changer because I feel like Isaiah Thomas can fill that role of Kyrie. And at the same time, with Kyrie Irving wanting to be gone, would you want to keep him in a place where he doesn't want to be?
Yeah, I was thinking this is more of a situational question, like you were just saying. I feel like if they were to have a true point guard, like you were saying with Isaiah Thomas, and then Derrick Rose was hurt for those couple games, this would be possibly a different record for the Cavaliers. So it's kind of hard to tell right now. Obviously, they're hurting without Kyrie, but I think they're not even necessarily hurting without Kyrie. They're hurting without a true point guard. So I feel like once they get Derrick Rose, Derrick Rose is back now, but I feel like once he gets fully 100%, and once you get Isaiah Thomas back in there, that's when you have to ask this question. But as far as right now, we're just going to have to wait and see.
That's right. It's a totally different team without Kyrie, and you saw the Heatles when LeBron went to Miami and played united with Dwayne Wade. He's reunited with him. It took a month or two for them to figure out really how to get the feel for each other.
And it looks like that's all the time that we have for NSEN. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Elijah Campbell.
I hope you guys join us next week. Thank you for joining us today. Y'all have a good night, Rutherford County.
Take it easy.